This is a July update on my 112 gallon average reef. I've finally gotten around to making those big changes. While the tank does look pretty similar, there's actually quite a bit different. I've added a bunch of new little frags, but I've also cut up some corals, including my goniopora. Here's how it looked last month. While it's pretty similar, it was definitely a lot more jam-packed. The goniopora, I got 15 frags off of it. I really didn't want to have to cut it up, but it was just too big, and it actually should be a little bit bigger now, but as you can see, my naked clownfish has taken up residence in it, so I guess that's kind of irritating it just a little bit. It no longer touches the front glass, and it's only touching a few corals now instead of quite a few. One strange issue I have is one of my acanthophilias has completely bleached out. I took him out of the tank and he's in my frag tank right now. The other one looks perfect, so even though I have had a little bit of issues with low calcium and alkalinity, I don't really think that's the cause. Over here I've scattered quite a few new pieces, including these purple people eaters. Believe it or not, this is a coral I've wanted for 15 years, and I finally shelled out for one polyp. Way back in the day, in around 2007, they were $50 a polyp, back when you could get a rock with 100 polyps of a different zoanthid for $40. There's a few other new small frags, and quite a few pieces have been moved around. If you don't look at the tank all the time, it doesn't look that different, but to me it looks a lot different. And adding all these new little pieces is probably going to keep my interest peaked. This one here is a Japanese sarcophyton toadstool. You can see it doesn't look the same as the other toadstools. This one here is also new and different, but the base of this one is actually a bright green. Here's a close-up of the Tyree toadstool. The white balance is slightly off, so this isn't 100% color accurate, but you can tell that they are definitely different corals. I also added this Acan encanata at the back, and a little tiny bird's nest, as well as Montipora digitata. Yeah, there's a few new SPS in the tank, not that there's really room for them. Otherwise, I added this grafted Montipora, which had nowhere to go, so I glued a little rock to the overflow. The one coral I didn't cut, which I thought I was going to absolutely have to, is this big green leather. It's kind of pushed into the back corner now, so it doesn't quite expand as big as it used to. But I didn't cut any of it off. I still have a bunch of frags of it in my frag tank. I did fortunately get rid of some, but I still have some more. So it is still touching the goniopora, but otherwise I think it's pretty much okay in the corner here. This side of the tank I didn't touch at all. This Leptocyrus really does need to be cut. It is starting to grow up the front of the glass. Obviously that is going to be an issue sooner rather than later. The only minor change is these gorgonians. They were mostly in last month, but I adjusted a few of them. They've taken a good month plus to settle in, but most of them are open almost all the time these days. Of course, when I'm filming the video, some of them have closed up. I didn't really show it, but the main gorgonian colony, the big one I have, it's been closed up for about a week. It does this maybe 2 times a year. You can see there's algae growing on it, which should be a concern, but it always seems to shed this off fine. By next month, I'm sure it'll be back to normal. My rainbow chalice is really growing down the tile. I'm hoping it will jump, but I'm a little worried it's going to grow around the tile. I may have to frag it. Otherwise, that's about it. Once the gorgonian gets back to normal, I think the tank is going to look really good. There's a lot more little corals in here, which, you know, I like to have, but the big colonies are what draw your eyes in. The little pieces are just kind of to keep my interest going. All the fish are doing pretty well. I don't really anticipate adding any more. All the new fish I get these days are for breeding projects. But you never know, eventually some may end up in here. Thanks for watching, and happy reefing.